Call to order the work session of the Cuyahoga County Council for Tuesday, March the 12th, which is my son's birthday, here in council chambers. You call the roll.
Calling the roll, Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mr. Rogers.
Here.
Ms. Simon. Simon is absent. Mr. Greenspan.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Brady.
Here.
Mr. Germana.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Mr. Schron.
Here.
Ms. Conwell.
Here.
Ms. Conley.
Here.
You have quorum.
Thank you. Item 3, discussion. We are here for an update of the Cuyahoga County Administration Complex. And before we start with the presentation, I'd like to introduce or reintroduce Jeff Applebaum and Steve Zanoni, who have been hired as our consultant. They will be our ears to the ground. And Jeff did such a good job before. No, that's not what we hired him, but we're pleased to look forward to working with you and keeping us updated. And obviously you have lots of experience in these kinds of matters, so you will be our eyes and ears, and I'm sure you'll be hearing from all of us from time to time. For the discussion, Bonnie, are you going to start, or? Oh. Okay. All right. The folks from Geist, you want to come on up, and we look forward to your presentation. No.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to give our first of what will be many. Is that better?
Yes, better.
All right. So we'll be giving, I think we're scheduled for almost bi-weekly updates to the council about where we're going through the construction and design process. I brought with me today Jen Dotson, who is our lead architect on the project, and Tom Cherrick, who's our project manager. I'm just going to give a brief statement and just say that we're moving very well through our closing process on the financing for the transaction, and we have a hard closing date of March 28th. So that's moving well with the port, and we don't see any hiccups in the near future, so we're moving through that, and we should be ready to go. I'm going to have Jen come up first and give you a little bit of an overview on how the permit process and design review process has been going with the different city agencies. Then we'll have Tom come up and give a walkthrough on some bridge remodel options, some budget cost on those, and then some timing on when those decisions would have to be made. And then finally, we'll have Jen come back up and give a little bit of a glimpse of some of the feedback we've received from design review on some of the building signage. So I'll turn it over to Jen Dotson now to give you the update.
Hi, good afternoon. The building permit process is really a three-step process in the city of Cleveland. We have to go to design review board, which is a group of architects, mostly architects, that provide feedback on the building. That's followed by a formal presentation in front of Cleveland Planning Commission. And once we have those approvals, we go to the building department for our actual permits. In the first week of March, we did our preliminary run with design review and planning commission. Design review made some comments, but they approved us to move forward for the demo permit. We have to go back to them for conceptual massing and then final reviews. That subsequent Friday, we were in front of Planning Commission. Planning Commission approved us for demo, for conceptual, and for massing. That approval allows us to pull not only a demo permit, but a foundation permit as well. So the city is really working to help us expedite this process and in phases to keep us moving. After that Planning Commission meeting, the submittal package for the demo permit was approved. We have a partial approval on that. The only item outstanding is some details we need to work on shoring some things up for them. So for all intents and purposes, we have a demo permit in hand. Our next submission to the building department will be for foundation permit. Our target is Monday the 18th to submit for that. We will be back in front of design review April 4th and in front of Planning Commission on April 5th. Denver could not be with us today. He will be here at the next council update with some exterior materials to take a look at, and any other items before we go back to design review. Questions? Thank you. You're welcome.
So once the, when do you anticipate the demolition permit to be approved?
We have partial approval. They had a condition on a detail on the shoring of the bridge that we're working with structural engineers to get back to the city. Basically, the permit lets us demolish floors 8 through 4 until we get them that detail, and then we can demolish the rest.
How soon would that begin?
April 9th will be the first day of demolition.
Okay, thank you.
The day after the home opener.
Yes.
The day after what?
The home opener.
Oh,
Thank you.
right.
Tom Sherrick. The first handout I gave was a basic schedule of what we're looking at for the project. The foundation permit is going in the 18th of March. That lets us, after we turn down the building, we already have that permit. The foundation permit lets us start putting the basement in. The total core and shell permit is going in April 8th. That is the box. And then October 6th is when the tenant fit-out drawings, that is the interiors of your space, will be done, October 6th. We are also submitting that same day to the city for the permit for the interiors. November 6th is when we start fitting out. 30 days for the permit process. We start building your interiors November 6th. You move in July 14th. That's when the building will be done, furniture's in, ready for you to move in with your bags. Any questions on the basic schedule?
That's pretty simplistic.
Just a question.
Yes.
The permitting process, what you're submitting for permitting on certain days, what's your expected turnaround?
30 days.
Is that built-in contingency for questions or challenges?
Yes. I'll be happy to receive it sooner.
You really think this is realistic, that we're going to be there, moving in on 7/14/14?
Yes.
Do you think we should take a pool on this?
No, yeah, it's absolutely. I've done this multiple times. Our whole team has. Big buildings, a year and a half is standard. Absolutely.
How long have you been doing this?
Over a decade, $1 billion worth of work, over 2 million square feet.
Those are Tom's credentials.
Oh, yeah, sorry, that's mine.
Guys are a little bit bigger.
Yes.
Okay, Applebaum, you going to hold the pool?
Am I gonna what? You can hold
Money for the pool?
Depends on how big the pool is.
Okay. Yes.
Do I read the schedule right, that since you're starting construction on the tenant fit-out on 11/6/13, that the building itself will basically be completed by that date?
Yes, the core and shell will be complete. It'll be a dried-in space by November.
Okay.
Yes.
Just so everybody, at least if I'm reading this correctly, that's the date in which we would get access to the building. That doesn't mean that's when we're moving in all of our furniture and ready to turn the keys. So don't,
That's when you would get.
right, don't assume that because that's the day you get the key, that's the day you find your office location. So I think we need to make sure we still left ourselves with build out and concepts as far as office space and things of that nature. So don't.
Oh, all right.
Don't jump to that conclusion that because you saw the keys coming to the, I don't know if you've ever, whenever you moved into a place, just because you got the keys in that day, that isn't probably when you put your head on the pillow.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I was just wondering when the design phase, where does it fall in between on these dates? When we will be completed?
Okay. For the core and shell, that is the April 8th. That is the basic box of the building. And that's when the design will be done, submitted to the city. The tenant fit out, the actual interiors of the project, that's the October 6th date. So the design is being worked on right now.
On the 4th
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Madam President. So this July 14th date, just following on Councilmember Strawn's statement, is when we then are able to move our furniture in and do it, or did you say that that's the day everything will be in and we could actually take
Yes.
Working occupancy?
Yes. All furniture will be in July 14th.
Okay.
All new furniture.
So we're still confused, so if the furniture's in, when do the people get in? That's what we want.
I think that's probably a question for Public Works and Bonnie's department as to how they would stage the movement from one building to the next. What we're giving you is the date that our work will be done under the contract. We say we're done, and then it's your space. And how you transition your people into the building is probably something that Bonnie's team's working on.
Bonnie Tewin, Director of Public Works. What we still have to do in preparation of the move is hire consultants and vendors to actually physically move us into the space. So the majority of the furniture will be new. We're going to try and look at the possibility of reusing some of our furniture, maybe some of the better conference tables. URS is doing an inventory of our existing furniture to see if we can utilize some of that furniture. But what we'll have to do is get a contractor to actually schedule the move and how we all do that. And there's consultants that specialize in these major moves to make sure that we're closed on Friday and we can be up and running on Monday the next day to our customers.
Madam Chair, to Ms. Director Teemer, do you have a plan going out so far? Which departments are going to be moved in first? How are you going to?
We're not quite there yet, so no, we have not looked at it. And that would be something that we would rely on a moving company, a consultant that specializes in moves to help us walk through that process.
And could you name the departments again or the agencies that are going to move in that building?
We have the people that are currently in the administration building. We have the Department of Development, which is at Reserve Square. We have my office, which is over at Stonebridge, Public Works.
So just Public Works Administration?
Yes. We have the Auto Title. Thank you. We have the Auto Title Company, department, which is on Superior, and the Planning Commission, which is in Lakeside, and the HR Commission, which is at Lakeside also. And I think that's it. Oh, and IT and HR that are at the Sterling building. Sorry.
Yes, Mr. Jones.
What are your intentions with the furniture that, if there'll be all new furniture, what is your intention for the old furniture?
Well, we would look to auction off the old furniture. There's companies within Cleveland that they take old furniture and they refurbish it and resell it. That's also something that we would look to put in our specifications that for when we look for new furniture for our building is the certain percentage of it would be refurbished. So that it's all not brand new furniture, that we are looking to use some refurbished furniture.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
The second handout is the options for the bridge. I tried to make this very simple, where I have a decision deadline date on the left-hand side.
A little or speak into the microphone. You just turned it off, I think.
Better?
Yeah, better.
On the left-hand side, there's a decision deadline. As you look over to the right of that, there's an item listed per the write-up that was sent out previously from Denver from VOCON. As an example, the number one is clad the exterior faces of the box beams. That deadline is November 29th of this year. We would need to know by that date if you want to do that to get it done by July of 2014. And as you go down the list, and we can answer any questions you have on that, it has each date listed we need. A good example is just replacing the ceiling of the bridge. If you want to do that, I need to know by February of 2014, and it could be done by July of 2014.
I think the question that I have and other members of council have is, what is in the agreement that you all are going to do to the bridge that was a part of the contract?
That's at the bottom of the handout. And you can see bridge remodel and base building project improvement scope. Includes a new roof replacement, including this exterior, painting the existing metal panels, carpet replacement, painting the interior of the bridge, fire doors, and the cleaning of the interior.
So that's already in the contract. That's what you've
correct.
already agreed to do for the price that we have bargained with you for.
Correct. And I'd just like to point out that this list was produced after we rewalked the bridge after our last council meeting to try and develop a list of even possible things that could be done to the bridge. It's not a recommendation, and certainly we could give input if it's requested on what would be recommended, but these are a list of possibilities.
Now you're confusing me. I thought this is what you've already agreed to do. The
I'm
bottom
talking
part.
about the top of the list.
Oh,
I'm
okay, the
sorry.
top list. Okay,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
everything below the line is what we're already doing. And that was after our inspection of the bridge, what we thought would bring it back to a sufficient level. These things were the top of the list is what was requested to say what could be done to the bridge, but they're not recommendations. Certainly we'd be able to give our feedback on that, but
And over the course of the lease, then like you have to maintain the bridge in
Correct.
terms of like replacing the carpet and
yes,
maintain the fire doors.
the garage walkway is subject to the same maintenance requirements as your building. That includes janitorial and cleaning.
So
and
you'll be in
maintenance
charge of the
and
janitorial for the bridge?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Schrein and Mr. Gallagher?
And I thought the heating systems were part of the core also.
The
I see
heating
it-
system on the bridge is existing.
But I thought it wasn't working, you had to make it operational.
I'm not aware that it's not working. It is working.
Oh, okay. Earlier, there was a statement from you folks that it was not working, had to be brought up to speed. I thought we go back and check. But
I recall that same thing.
Yeah. I guess regardless, it'll be working.
Yes, it
That's
will
the
be
bottom
working.
end. I believe it is currently working. If it was misstated earlier, that's not the case, but upon delivery, the heat will be working.
okay, so I noticed it moved up, or at least appears to be there. Is the radiant baseboard heating, that's the system that's currently in place, is
That
it
would
not?
be a aesthetic design replacement to maybe update the look of the radiant heating, not the function of it.
And currently, we have no air in there, right?
There's no air, I understand that, but I thought the heating systems were unoperable at the time when
Right.
they needed to be fixed.
Yeah, so if you look at that, it says radiant baseboard cover replacement. So that's not really the heating itself, as we stand here, either works, which I believe it does, or will work upon delivery at our cost. This would be to replace the cover to change the look of it or to match whatever else could be done on the interior of the design. Again, this falls in the category of not a recommendation, but a possible thing that could be done on the interior of the bridge.
Thank you.
Mr. Gallagher?
You said that the bottom that you've agreed to do would bring this up to a sufficient, and then you trailed off after that, sufficient level of
and
acceptance.
appearance. This is what we thought was appropriate for it to recondition, or refresh the bridge.
Isn't it a goal to have the bridge match the quality of the new building?
Yes.
And if it's just sufficient, then it's not matching the quality of type A office space.
I don't think that's really what I meant and was implying. But what I'm saying is what's below the line and what we included in the contract was what we felt was appropriate for the bridge and the way it was structured.
Right. Well, I think it should be equal to, at least, the quality of the space, which is Class A office space, and I do believe that is in the documentation. So sufficiency really doesn't make it. Quality of Class A office space is what does it.
Yeah, again, I don't think that's what I was implying by using that word, but I understand
beg
your
your
point. I said I don't think that's what I was implying by using that word,
No,
but I
I'm
understand your
just,
point.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Greenspan?
Thank you, Madam President. This $697,000 that's on this document brings the bridge to, kind of following on what Mr. Gallagher is saying, brings the bridge up to what standard?
I think that's a subjective standard. What we were asked to do was to bring a list of improvements that could be done to the bridge. I think what the bridge would look like after we're done or after any of these items done is subjective, and we're looking for feedback from council as to what the selections would be and how far we would like to go.
So would these improvements then match the building? Or are you saying that
Certainly they would match the building, yes.
that these improvements then would exceed what the new building would look like?
It's a difficult question to answer because some of these are not, some of these are aesthetic and design and some are not. Like HVAC would match the building in terms of mechanicals, but that, I don't know what that has to do with appearance. So it's really a matter of opinion and subjective in terms of what.
Let's look at the appearance, then from an appearance perspective.
Yeah, certainly everything would match, nothing would clash with the building.
So in the absence of this, 697,000, then it would not match.
I don't think you can make that jump.
Well, how do the bottom 6 items match and the top below the line match and above the line match, but they're not the same? My point is this $697,000 going to match the building? Your answer was yes. Then how does below the line match as well?
I don't think the two categories are inconsistent. It's just a level of finish that you can choose.
Following Mr. Gallagher on a Class A building space, his thought, then why not the $700,000? That's going to match the building. My concern is that without it, it's not going to match, which is inconsistent with the intent of what we're trying to do with the bridge and the new building.
Okay.
So that's my point when we start talking about being subjective in the interpretation. If this matches, then this must not match because it's nowhere near the same in scope. So all we're saying is it should match and be consistent.
Okay.
So I guess I'm not looking for it to be rhetorical. Maybe my attorney colleague, Mr. Strong, can help seal and close the deal for me on this.
You're on your own.
No,
Just kidding. Madam President?
Yes.
The items above that are, I'll look at them as options almost, is that an inclusive option so that if we select just, for example, the first item, if we were to do that item there as far as clad the exterior, is that inclusive? So that means removing whatever's there and putting up for the $92,000? Is that, or is there going to be a demo charge? Is there going to be a disposal charge? All that added on top of this 92? Or is that, if we choose just that one item, does that wrap up that whole item?
If you look at item number 1 and number
Yes.
3, there's insulation that would have to go around those metal panels. So there's insulation metal panels around box beams and sides. So between the 92 and the 2,800, that is a total charge. That is demo, that is new work, that is permits, that is everything. For the
Disposal
top-
and everything?
Everything for the top metal panels around the beams. The top,
Yeah, I understand. Whatever. So when we're selecting, if we select just 3 off that list, that's an all-inclusive.
All-inclusive.
We don't have to worry about the disposal of it, or if it's an environmental problem, or if there's asbestos laden in there, or anything like that. We're done with that item if we buy 1, 2, and 3, or whatever.
yes. My assumption was you wanted a total number, so you don't have to worry about the details. You wanted a total.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's why I want to make sure I'm not worrying about details, that at some point along the way, I'm not going to hear about a disposal cost
No.
or a demo cost or any of those kind of things. So that then brings me to the items on the bottom, the 7 items on the bottom. what credit do we get when we eliminate those? Because those are duplicate, it appears to me, on the items in the top. Pardon? There's credits on this list?
If you look under item number 1, there is clean exterior credit in contract scope, $11,655. Paint exterior metal panels. The top beam, because we would be wrapping the beam with metal panels, we don't have to paint it, and there's a credit of $14,000 listed under item number 1.
What are these 7 items worth on the bottom then, contractually?
Well, the cleaning the exterior credit is listed under item number 1, $11,655, and painting the exterior metal panels on the top beam portion is $14,700. And the rest is within our contract scope, which we owe you no matter what.
I'm sorry, the OS, what?
The things below the line are included in the contract.
Right. But they won't, some of those won't be, you're not going to do some of those things, it would seem to me.
Anything that we wouldn't do if you choose something has been listed as a credit underneath that item to give you the true total value. Item number 1 is a good example. The cleaning and the painting, the credit has been offered, included in the $92,000, so you would be able to just pick total.
Okay, so when we're doing, you're everything on that bottom, then other than those 2 items you're telling me is going to get done irrespective of whether we select something on the top and exchange it.
Yes. A good example is fire doors. No matter what you choose, we need fire doors.
Right.
Carpet, no matter what you do, we're changing out the carpet. The cleaning, no matter what you do, we have to clean it. The bottom, if you don't do metal panels, we're cleaning it. The credit is listed. The new rubber roof, we're replacing the roof no matter what. It needs a new roof, no matter what, we're putting a new roof on.
Okay, so the total cost to refurb is probably is running higher than the $697,000 when we're all said and done.
Including the work that's in our contract?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. For some reason, I guess again, just my recollection was that when we stood up here a little bit ago, we talked about a $500,000 demo or a high-end retrofit was going to be in the $300,000 to $400,000 range. What we're now saying that this is a $700,000 plus because if we have to add back in what was taken out, the credits.
The $300,000 was just a line item for the metal panels. There's more than the metal panels on here. Right? And that's
Yes.
how we look at it. So there's more options on here now than just the metal panels.
Okay.
Between items number 1, 2, and 3, it gets to the $300,000 number you looked at previously. That is the metal panels. Item number 4 is the glazing. We never spoke about the glazing to our last meeting. We went back, got a number to replace all the glass in that bridge. That's item number 4. And that is an all-inclusive number, taking out the glass, putting new glass back, the whole system. That's where another $185,000 came from, is you asked about the glass, we went, brought a price, brought it back to you. So we talked about metal panels previously. What we thought was, what were you looking for? You asked about glass, we got a price, brought it back, and these are just options. We're not suggesting one way or the other, just here are your options if you want them.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Galvin?
Maybe this can sum it up for us because I'm bridged out again. The bottom portion, does that bring it equal to, not better than, Class A office space in downtown Cleveland? In your opinions, what matches the building as a Class A building?
I don't know that I'm qualified to give that opinion, but I would think it would.
But, well, then, at our next meeting, could somebody just say, these extras, if we want to call them extras, is what's going to take this bridge from the dilapidated thing it is today?
Yeah, unfortunately,
to
our
this-
architect, Denver Brooker, who's been leading the design of this process, is out of town this week.
Yeah,
So at
that's
the next
fine.
meeting, he'll be here, and he can probably address these
Yeah,
points
we can
more directly.
talk about it further, but what brings that bridge to the quality of a Class A office space? Because I think that should match.
Madam President.
Wait, have they answered that?
They're going to get there.
Okay, all right, Mr. Galvin.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So just to further clarify, I guess, my previous point, and so what we're saying is that there are mandatory improvements you have to make on the bridge no matter what.
Yes.
Take those out. Under the current plan, there are about $25,000 worth of improvements, right? That are above and
No,
beyond.
it's much,
No, above and beyond what you're going to do anyhow. I'm taking the two items you credit, the 11,655 and the 14,700, about $26,000.
okay.
All right, so what you're saying is as the bridge is designed now, and with the replacements you have to make anyhow, in addition to those replacements, what you're saying is, well, and then you take the $26,000 that are credits and add them back to roughly at $725,000 in improvements. So what you're saying is, just so I understand, is that in your opinion, to take that bridge to Class A space is either going to cost $25,000 or $725,000, right? Because if we do nothing with this, you're saying that for $25,000, which is built into the contract, the bridge will be Class A space.
The 25 grand is only for the cleaning
Right.
and the painting of the steel. That's it.
Right.
That doesn't include the cost for the roof, which we're doing, includes the cost of the roof, which we're doing no matter what. The cost for the carpet, which we're doing no matter what.
But you're going to have to do that under either example. So I'm trying to strip out and say, okay, outside of the items that are mandatory that you're doing, okay, you've said that if we go with the $700,000 option, we would get a credit for $25,000 because it's being done elsewhere. If we didn't, it's baked in, it's already baked into the plan. So I guess if you look at what you're required to do, so you got your basic scope of work, what you're doing on top of it equates to about $25,000 worth of cost that we would be credited if we were to go with the higher end route. So taking those two and looking at them, what you're saying is $25,000 versus $725 gets you Class A space.
No, that's not what we're saying. I don't think that either Tom or I are qualified to say what a Class A aerial walkway would look like. I think the people that are qualified to say that aren't here today, and we can get back to you on that. But I think what you're asking for me is to say, from what we've agreed to do to the different options that you've asked us to explore, what is the difference in grade of the space? It's kind of hard to do on an aerial walkway. It's not an interior office space. So I think I'd like to table this question until we have the appropriate people here to answer it.
Yeah, all right, that's fine.
So the next update, then you'll get back to us on this.
Yeah, I think Denver is a very appropriate person to field these questions.
Okay.
President?
Yes.
I'm just wondering, since we still have a little time, if we could briefly just explain what each of these 10 items are?
No problem. The first one is on the very top part of the bridge, there's two metal box beams. Number one would wrap those in metal panels that will look similar to the new headquarter building. That's number one. What that includes is taking out everything old, putting in new, so it'll look very similar. The number two is the underside. Currently, the underside of the bridge has concrete planks. We would insulate and wrap the underside of that bridge with metal panels similar to the headquarter building. Whatever color was decided, it could be any color in the spectrum, but whatever was decided to be wrapped similar to what the box beams were up top. The exterior insulation, it's a small number, but it's insulating the actual walkway. It would keep it more tempered.
Mm-hmm.
Number four is replace the glazing, which is the glass in the bridge. Take out the glass that's there right now, install a new system similar to the headquarter building, similar color, whatever color was chosen.
So that's replacing the actual glass, not just.
Yes,
when I
the
think
actual
of
glass.
glazing, I think of the stuff that goes in between the glass and so this is actually new glass.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Completely new glass system taken out. Right, currently it's a custom-made single pane glass system that's tempered, and we'd take it out and put in a new glass system, whatever it was decided. Number five is replace the plaster ceiling, take out the ceiling and put in a new one, most likely drywall.
What's GWB?
Gypsum wallboard.
Okay.
Sorry, drywall, flat ceiling. Number 6, replace the existing baseboard heater covers. The baseboard heating works now, is turned off currently due to construction. It can be turned back on and would have new covers, something, whatever the architecture would decide, something modern.
Bad shape now?
No, they're just sometimes, we want to list an option. If you wanted to do something new, modern, something different, that's what it would cost.
Okay.
So, again, we're not recommending, we're just giving it an option. Number 7's new railing. It's, currently there's a very functional railing there, but if a new railing was decided, wanted to be chosen for looks, this is what it would cost to be put in. New interior lighting, that is, inside there's currently lights that are functioning. If you want to do something new type of light, this is what it would cost to do new lights. Exterior lighting, if you wanted to light the bridge somehow, that's generally what it would cost per square foot to do some architectural lighting. Now, architectural lighting is something decorative.
Right.
Not necessary, but decorative. Number 10 is new air conditioning system. It would provide air conditioning to the building, to the walkway.
Are there pictures that you guys have of the existing interior of the bridge that you could share with us? Because it'd be hard for me to make a decision on whether or not we need a railing or new ceiling without having seen the inside of the bridge.
Yes, we have those. I can send those to you. No problem. And you have to remember, when you look at the pictures, carpet is going to be replaced. It is going to be completely cleaned. It is going to be painted.
Right.
So when you look at something like the existing bridge, it's winter, it's cold, it hasn't been cleaned or painted in quite some time.
Right.
Coat of paint and carpet.
Just something, but those radiant baseboard covers, sometimes, over time they tend to get bent and scuffed up and then the railings, just things that are there that we could see to make an informed decision on whether or not they need replacing.
No problem.
Ms. Connell?
Yes, Madam Chair. Just want to be clear, you guys are required to maintain the upkeep of the bridge, the life of our lease, correct? Okay, and what do you estimate your maintenance schedule to keep up that bridge? How often do you think you're going to have to repair it with just the bottom items?
How often we replace a carpet, replace a roof?
If you're taking care of the remainder of the lease, the bridge for 26 years, how often in your estimation do you think you're going to have to make repairs?
We have to go back and talk about, we usually do a budgeting system, not really a scheduled reserve, and it's just based off of a factor that we include into our cost. I don't think we have a replacement schedule for something like that specific.
Okay, but you'll have some idea of when, I don't know if you've ever done bridges or maintained bridges or whatever, when it'll need maintenance, or be able to reach back to whoever previously owned it to see how often they had to keep it up.
I think we can look into that further and have a more defined answer for you.
Okay, because I think that would help us in determining what items here we would actually put up front costs for.
All right, any other questions? Yes, Mr.
I have one
Greenberg.
just as a result of the explanation. Number 3, the exterior insulation component, is that added here because of number 10, the air conditioning system, or wouldn't that be included below the line anyhow, because it's going to have to be heated? Wouldn't you want insulation to protect the heating of the building in the winter?
Currently, it doesn't need insulation because of the heating. The heating it's been there, it's efficient, but as an option, because this is a LEED building, and you're trying to raise the efficiency of the bridge at the same time, we wanted to give you that option, to raise the efficiency of the bridge.
So is the bridge now LEED certified?
No.
But if the building is, and we're talking about having consistent structures, then why would the the bridge not be LEED certified?
I just want to clarify one thing. The bridge is not part of the building or premises. The bridge is an aerial walkway that you have an access right to use. So I understand that from an aesthetic purpose, you want it to come into the building and be similar in quality, but the standards from the interior build-out of your building do not apply as a standard to the interior of the bridge. I don't know if that's what you're trying to ask us, but I just want to make that clarification. The bridge itself is not part of the premises.
Well, then my previous statement then to Ms. Teowen about having our security be on that bridge then is out the
You have access rights to the bridge. So if that's something you want to explore, I don't know that it's logistically possible based upon the width of the bridge, but you do have the access rights to use the bridge, exclusive access rights to use the bridge.
So are you saying these upgrades then make the bridge consistent with the building, the $700,000? So when you step in the bridge from the parking garage, do you feel as if you're in the building? Is that what these upgrades do?
I don't think they're inconsistent. I don't know. I think you're asking me for an opinion on quality, and I'm not.
I'll wait till next week.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Jemana had a question, then we'll move to Mr. Miller. Go ahead, Mr. Jemana.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Looking over this list, three things pop out to me that seem to be more important as far as the aesthetics. Because even though this is an appendage to the building, when people come downtown, they're going to see what's leading to this brand-new building. So, if people are walking through a garage, that I don't know how heated that garage is, but, the heating inside that bridge, to me, doesn't seem as important as the appearance. Does this thing fit with this new building? And in particular, the glazing, depending on what color the glass is going to be. If this whole building has got glass of a certain color, if you don't reglaze it to match, it's going to look different. It's going to look like, well, this is just a bridge going to a brand new building. The other thing is the architectural lighting. I'm just wondering, is the main building going to have architectural lighting?
That is still in the design process with URS.
Okay, but see, in my mind, if there's a certain pattern of architectural lighting for the building, perhaps then the bridge should match the architecture. So it looks like here's the building with its appendage. And then the other thing, of course, is the exterior, the number one, the exterior. So I'm thinking that those three things that are exterior are really going to make a difference. People will not be coming downtown and going, got this brand new building and this ugly bridge going to it. So to my mind, depending on what color the glazing is, if we do the glazing to match, it's going to add to the whole aesthetic. So I'm not that concerned about what the ceiling, if it's a gypsum board or plaster, as long as it's painted and nice, the heat, if the heat works. I just think that if you got this brand new building, why wouldn't you have something that matches?
I think what we have talked about with our counterparts on the county side is to have some steps in the process. One will be, we'll bring in some pictures of existing conditions. We can bring in samples of materials. We also had intended, when the weather warms up a little bit, to paint a panel of the bridge with the metallic paint on the prospect side so that people can come and look at what it will be, and then it'll help make a decision as to whether they want to take it steps further or not. So we'll put some programming in place so that these decisions can be made and you'll have a little bit better feel of what it will look like at certain points in time.
All right, thank you. Mr. Miller?
Madam Chair, colleagues, going through this list and trying to decide by committee is probably something we could do, and we might get 11 different answers, and we could probably vote on them in some way, but it's probably not the best way to do it. I would think that there is a consensus on a general principle, which is that the bridge should be consistent with the new building and not stick out as no effort was made to make this a part of the larger project. But if we were to ask the director and/or Mr. Applebaum to come up with a recommendation on this list and bring it back to us, and then if there's something in their recommendation that we're greatly opposed to, well, we could tweak it a little bit one way or the other, but I think that would be a better way to go than us trying to work through this list by committee.
First of all, I wasn't anticipating that, but I think the councilman has a point. Mine is just a comment, and that's if any members of the council didn't see, and I would expect that all of the members of the council wouldn't have seen. There was an article in the Arts and Living section of the Plain Dealer on Sunday. Its focus was not about this bridge, but the bridge is discussed in the article, and if you haven't seen it, I just suggest that you might take a look at it.
Well, we do have Mr. Applebaum's consultation, and we anticipate hearing from him. And I think that we should, your suggestion is valid, that we should get some feedback from him, because obviously has more experience in this kinds of things. And I see him vociferously making notes and sort of conferring about this. So we will have an update. We'll have an update in 2 weeks from you, and then in the meantime, we will hear from Mr. Applebaum and get his expertise in helping us make the decisions. But I don't believe there's any decision that has to be made today. My question about the insulation is, when we're going to insulate a building to help you pay cheaper heat,
Again, we
I
gave
mean, why should
options.
we pay for insulation so that your heat bill goes down?
You don't have to.
Yeah, well, I mean, heat or cool, what?
Again, we were tasked to give options as an à la carte menu, and that is an option.
Okay. Okay. All right, any other questions or any other information that we'll need? Yeah, you're gonna get the pictures, yeah, we didn't see the pictures before. All right,
If anybody would like to come and visit the bridge, and we have people at the building every day, that could help.
okay, I appreciate the offer, so we can, we might take you up on that. All right. Ms. T1, anything else you want to add?
Sorry, there's one thing we do want to go over before time is up, is Mary Ann wanted to kind of just briefly talk about what she's been doing as far as the fit out, if that's okay?
Okay.
I'll be really brief. Just for context, there's 3 drawing packages that we will produce for the tenant fit out, and each is more detailed than the preceding one. So right now, we're working on the first package that's called the schematic design package. In order to do that, we have had a lot of meetings and a lot of study sessions to make sure that we have all the facts and figures that we need to put that together. So in the last month, we've had 26 department interviews talking about the specifics of how the departments expect to operate in the future, what their staff counts will be, and what kind of space needs that they require. And I can tell you that today we finished the last interview in that set. We've had 5 security meetings, 2 of those 5 will be this week. We're talking specifically about the lobby security on the 1st floor and the 4th floor. We're coordinating with guys on the building security as well. We're working very closely with both the Sheriff's Department and IT Department. They have requirements, and IT manages the systems that handle your security. We've had 3 specific work sessions with the Geist team to talk about the 1st floor lobby. So we're looking at exactly where the entry doors will be located. It's going to be a 2-story lobby space. We worked with Protective Services to understand what kind of security equipment you need in that lobby. We're looking at the transition from the lobby into the elevator core as well as to the departments on the 1st floor. With Geist and Public Works, we had a meeting with Land Studio to talk about the plaza in front of the building. And we had sort of 2 main items on that agenda. First of all, we needed to understand the original design requirements and the funding for that plaza. The plaza is actually owned by the city of Cleveland. It's not really part of your property, although it's certainly, there's a lot of interest in making sure that the design of the plaza is consistent. In Geiss's base contract, they will use that plaza for construction staging. So they're going to very carefully remove everything that's there and store it. They've notified the artists that did that work so that there's no panic on their part when their artwork disappears. And then they're committed to restoring the plaza. What we're exploring is, are there some other opportunities for additional funding and additional design work that might make a transition from the way the plaza is today to a plaza that might be more appropriate and more in fitting with the county headquarters building. And finally, we meet every week with Geist on Friday afternoon to coordinate the base building work with the tenant and finish work. So we've been working very closely with them on a lot of issues to keep it going. We are very busy with the floor plans for each and every floor. We're laying out the departments, we're laying out every office and every workstation and every conference room to make sure that we have the best configuration for that. And we should be ready with the first design package should be complete in the first week in April. And at that point, we'll get pricing both from the estimators that are on our team as well as from Geist. And so at that point, we will begin to look at the cost of that. In addition to the layouts, those will also include preliminary information, preliminary engineering of all those spaces. So we'll be looking at the electrical systems, the mechanical systems as they extend from the core of the building into the particular spaces that the county uses. And I should also add that we have had a meeting with the firm that will be designing the green roof to start looking at how we'll lay out the roof for the county's use. So we've got a lot of parts and pieces in play, and we're working very quickly to coordinate that and complete it for the first design package.
So I know you've gone to each individual user of the building and talked to them about the design. Are you going to go back, and then once you lay out the design, you're going to go back and show them to
Yes.
to the individual users?
Yes, we will. We will get their approval of the layouts before we complete this phase.
Okay. All right, any questions? Yes, Mr. Rogers.
I'm not sure if this is a question just for you or to Ms. Tewan, but I'm wondering, when are we going to start seeing the disposition of the other facilities?
That's a question for Ms. Tewan.
Actually, I was just talking to Ryan Jeffers this morning about the disposition of the other properties. What we had talked about is an executive session to bring all of those properties to executive session, have a discussion with them. So I would hope, and I guess we need to coordinate that with your staff, that by next council meeting we can have an executive session to discuss all those properties.
Just don't make it the 27th, because that's a very long day for us.
Okay, well then we won't.
And we'll be here from 9 o'clock in the morning for a seminar, so that's going to be a very long day for us. And it's a Wednesday, so remember, the next council meeting is a Wednesday and not a Tuesday, so.
Right.
Okay, thank you. All right, anything else on the update? Any other questions we have, or? Yes. Yes, and I think, yes, they have, and I think we're going to get an update on, there was a question about the council floor, and I believe that Thursday, she's coming in and giving me and Mr. Brady a review if anyone else wants to come. 11? After the juvenile court tour. 11, right. So I was going to take a look at it, and then we'll just, either make them available or have everybody come at the same time, but I haven't had taken a look at them. I thought it was the most efficient way to do it. But if anybody wants to come at 11 on Thursday, we'll take the first look at it. Okay, any other questions? All right, any miscellaneous business? We're going to adjourn, and we have our artworks presentation. These are outside the chambers in recognition of March as Developmental Disabilities Month. And I think you've had an opportunity to look at the artwork on the outside, and they're all for sale. I think some folks have already bought some items, and we're going to be chipping in and buying one for our office. So we look forward to spending an hour looking at the artwork from developmental disabilities, and we'll be back in session at 5 o'clock for our regular meeting. Any other public comment? Anyone sign in for public comment?
No, Madam Chair, no.
All right, if there's nothing further, we can adjourn until our meeting at 5 o'clock.